Most people wait for opportunities to come knocking. But what if I told you that just 1 hour a day could create the opportunities you've been waiting for? 1 hour, 60 minutes, that's all it takes. We all have the same 24 hours. The difference between those who lead and those who follow isn't luck. It's intention. The most successful people in any field don't just work hard, they work deliberately. They don't leave growth to chance, they schedule it. Imagine this. You commit 1 hour a day to learning something new, developing a skill, or building the future you want. Just 1 hour, not for others, not for distractions, but for you. An hour of reading, an hour of writing, an hour of building, an hour of reflecting, an hour of planning. An hour of doing. If you do that, you're no longer reacting to life, you're shaping it. The problem isn't time, it's belief. Most people don't believe 1 hour can make a difference, so they waste it. They scroll, they wait, they wish. But 1 hour a day equals 365 hours a year. That's more than 9 full work weeks. That's enough to launch a side business, learn a new language, write a book, transform your body, or build a brand. You don't need more talent. You don't need more time. You don't need more time. You need more discipline and a deeper reason to begin. And the beautiful thing, that hour will begin to change everything else. When you start honoring that hour, you start honoring yourself. Your confidence grows. Your direction becomes clear. You no longer chase validation because you know who you're becoming. The world isn't changed by grand gestures. It's changed by consistent action, repeated daily, without applause. Your future won't arrive tomorrow unless you invest in it today. Every day, we are presented with a series of choices. Most of them seem insignificant. Whether to get up early or hit snooze, whether to read for 10 minutes or scroll through our phones, whether to take the stairs or the elevator, whether to speak up or stay silent. These decisions rarely feel like they carry weight in the moment. But over time, they begin to shape the direction of our lives in profound ways. It's easy to believe that change only happens through massive action or dramatic turning points. We wait for the perfect opportunity, the big break, the moment that forces us to transform. But that's not how real transformation works. Real change is quiet. It's subtle. It begins with a choice made once, and then repeated the next day and the next. It's in the small, seemingly trivial actions that we begin to design the future we want. Those daily habits compound, they build momentum. And eventually they define us. The truth is, we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems. The outcomes we achieve are the results of the patterns we follow, consciously or unconsciously. If we want to write a book, the dream alone won't make it happen. But writing a single page every day will. If we want to get stronger, no single workout will get us there. But consistent effort, even for just 30 minutes a day, will move us toward our goal. Every small choice has the power to move us closer to who we want to become, or further away. Skipping one workout doesn't seem like much, but if it turns into a habit, it eventually becomes your lifestyle. Choosing to spend 10 minutes learning something new each day may not feel like much, but that's over 60 hours of learning in a year. These tiny decisions, multiplied by time, create exponential impact. We often overestimate what we can do in a week and underestimate what we can achieve in a year. But the key is consistency. Excellence is never the result of one major effort. It's born in the discipline to choose growth day after day, even when it's not exciting, even when no one is watching. What feels small today becomes significant tomorrow. The life we want doesn't come from one lucky break. It comes from the courage to make better choices in small moments, over and over again, until they turn into the habits that build our character, our future, and ultimately, our legacy. When people talk about not having enough time, what they often mean is that they haven't chosen to prioritize. Time is the most democratic resource in the world. Everyone gets the same 24 hours each day. The difference isn't in how much time we have, but in what we choose to do with it. But in truth, the barrier isn't time, it's intentionality. Intentionality means making a conscious decision about how to spend your time instead of letting it be dictated by habit, emotion, or convenience. It's about living on purpose. Without intentionality, our days are easily filled with things that feel urgent but aren't important. We say yes to things out of obligation, react to notifications without thought, and allow our energy to be consumed by what demands our attention rather than what deserves it. The reality is, most people are busy being busy, They move through their day reacting instead of choosing. They feel exhausted but can't point to anything meaningful they've accomplished. That's because activity doesn't equal progress. Motion isn't the same as direction. You can run in circles all day and end up nowhere. But when you live with intention, even a single focused hour can have more impact than 10 scattered ones. Being intentional means asking, what matters most today, and aligning your time with that answer. It means recognizing that you can't do everything, but you can do what's meaningful. It requires the discipline to say no to what's easy so you can say yes to what matters. And it often demands a shift in mindset. From trying to fit personal growth around your life to building your life around your growth. The people who make the biggest difference don't have more time than anyone else. They simply make better use of the time they have. They design their days around what fuels their purpose, not what fills their calendar. They don't wait for ideal conditions to start. They start with what they have and move forward with intention. They understand that time is not something you find. It's something you create. You don't need 8 free hours a day to change your life. You need a clear reason and the commitment to protect even 1 hour for something that matters. That 1 hour, when given your full presence and intention, can be the beginning of a new path. It can be the difference between a life that feels reactive and one that feels deeply aligned. So the question is not whether you have the time, but whether you're willing to choose what truly matters over what merely demands your attention. Growth does not happen by accident. It is not the result of simply moving through life or waiting for time to pass. Real growth, personal, professional, emotional, or spiritual, requires deliberate effort. It demands conscious choice, consistent discipline, and a willingness to lean into discomfort. While we may naturally evolve through experiences, true transformation only happens when we approach it with intention and action. Many people hope to grow, but are unwilling to do what growth requires. They want to be better, but not uncomfortable. They want the outcome without the process. But growth is not a passive experience, it is an active pursuit. It requires us to confront our limitations, stretch beyond what is familiar, and commit to becoming more than we were yesterday. It doesn't happen when we do what's easy. It happens when we do what's necessary over and over again, especially when it's hard. Deliberate effort means showing up even when there is no motivation, no applause, and no immediate reward. It means investing time into reading, learning, practicing, and reflecting, not because we have to, but because we've made the decision to become better. It is waking up early to build discipline, setting goals and sticking to them, and choosing growth when comfort whispers otherwise. Without effort, growth becomes wishful thinking. You cannot become a skilled communicator without practicing your voice. You cannot become a strong leader without making tough decisions. You cannot improve your mindset without challenging your thoughts. Each of these changes demands intentional action repeated consistently over time. That is the quiet work that no one sees, the hours spent refining, failing, adjusting, and improving. Effort is also what separates growth from mere motion. You can be busy and still not grow. You can consume all the right information and still not apply it. Deliberate effort requires reflection and application. It's not just about doing more. It's about doing what matters and doing it with purpose. Growth is built on the foundation of small, focused actions taken regularly, not occasional bursts of energy. The process of growth is not linear. There are setbacks, frustrations, and periods where it feels like nothing is working. But even then, the effort you put in is shaping your resilience, your mindset, and your character. You may not see the results right away, but the process is doing its work beneath the surface. That is the nature of deliberate growth. It takes time, but it never goes to waste. Choosing to grow means choosing to take responsibility. It means owning your development and no longer waiting for permission. It's understanding that becoming the person you want to be is entirely possible. But only if you're willing to show up every day and do the work that person would do. It's easy to get caught up in moments of motivation. We feel inspired, energized, ready to make big changes. We commit to waking up at 5 a.m., working out for 2 hours, eating clean, reading daily, and mastering new skills, all in a single week. But then, life gets in the way. The energy fades, and so does the progress. That's because lasting success doesn't come from intense bursts of effort. It comes from showing up consistently, even when the excitement is gone. Consistency is the quiet force behind every meaningful achievement. It's not glamorous. It doesn't get attention, but it works. Intensity may help you start, but consistency is what helps you finish. Anyone can have a great day. But it's the person who has a solid system for showing up every day who builds the habits that lead to long-term results. The compound effect of small actions, repeated consistently over time, always outperforms sporadic, high-energy efforts. People often think they need to go all in to see results, but it's far more powerful to commit to less and do it every day than to commit to too much and burn out quickly. Reading 10 pages a day might not feel impressive, but over a year, it adds up to thousands of pages. 10 minutes of daily exercise won't transform your body overnight, but it will build a rhythm that becomes part of your identity. Writing a paragraph each day may seem slow, but it could result in a finished book. The key is to focus on sustainability, not intensity. Intensity asks for everything all at once. Consistency asks for what you can give again tomorrow. When we aim for intensity, we often overcommit and underdeliver. We build expectations we can't keep, but when we commit to consistency, we build a habit we can rely on even when motivation fades. Consistency also builds trust with others, but more importantly, with ourselves. Every time we follow through on what we said we'd do, even in a small way, we strengthen our confidence. We prove to ourselves that we are capable of discipline and follow through. That belief becomes fuel for future action. It becomes easier to stay on course, to persist through obstacles, and to grow from challenges. The difference between who you are and who you want to be is found in your daily habits. Not your grand plans, not your rare bursts of inspiration, but your ordinary, everyday decisions. The small things you do repeatedly shape your identity and create the foundation for excellence. So while intensity can spark a beginning, only consistency can carry you through the journey. It's not about how hard you push for a day, it's about how often you keep showing up, even when it's hard, even when no one is watching, and especially when it feels like progress is slow. Because in the end, it's not what you do once that counts, it's what you do every single day. 1 hour may not seem like much. It passes quickly, often unnoticed, lost in distractions, routines, or tasks that don't really move us forward. But when intentionally invested, 1 hour a day holds immense power. 1 hour a day equals 365 hours a year. That's more than 9 full-time work weeks. And when used wisely, it can completely transform your life, skill set, mindset, and future. People often overestimate what they can do in a short period and underestimate what they can achieve over time. The idea of 365 hours sounds big, almost overwhelming. But when you break it down to just 1 hour a day, it becomes not only achievable, it becomes sustainable. The secret is in the consistency, not in the size of the effort. You don't need to spend entire days reinventing yourself. You just need to dedicate a focused hour every day towards something that matters. If you used 1 hour a day to build a skill, think of the mastery you could develop in a year. Whether it's learning to code, practicing public speaking, studying psychology, writing, training your body, or building a business, 365 hours of focused, intentional effort puts you far ahead of where you are today. It's more time than most people will ever put into a skill they claim to care about. The results of that 1 hour a day don't just add up, they multiply. The deeper you go into something, the more momentum you build. What starts as learning becomes understanding, then practice, then mastery. It creates compound growth, not just in knowledge, but in confidence, discipline, and identity. You begin to see yourself differently, and that shift impacts how you show up in every other part of your life. It's also about reclaiming agency. Time slips away from most people because they never take control of it. But dedicating 1 hour a day gives you structure. It gives you purpose. It reminds you that you are not stuck. You're just one decision away from forward movement. The world will always make demands on your time, but 1 hour a day is yours. It's a line you draw to say, this time is for my growth. This is my investment. Over the course of a year, the discipline to protect and use that hour becomes its own reward. You're no longer at the mercy of waiting for change. You're creating it day by day. And while others are wishing, waiting, or complaining, you're quietly building a life with depth, skill, and direction. You don't need to do everything today, but you do need to do something. And if all you can give is 1 hour, then give that hour your full focus, your full presence, and your full commitment. Because 365 hours of intentional effort can do what 10 years of passive living never will. 1 hour a day may not feel like much, but in the hands of someone determined, it's enough to change everything. There's something powerful about choosing to give yourself time, intentionally, consistently, and without apology. In a world that constantly demands your attention, your energy, and your availability, setting aside even a single hour for yourself becomes an act of self-respect. That hour isn't just about productivity or chasing a goal. It's about reminding yourself that you matter, that your growth matters, and that your dreams are worthy of time and space. The hour you give yourself builds more than skill. It builds self-worth and vision. When you deliberately carve out time for your own development, you are sending yourself a powerful message. I am worth the investment. That message is louder than any compliment, more affirming than any recognition, because it comes from within. Most people struggle with confidence because they've forgotten what it feels like to keep a promise to themselves. But when you show up for yourself, day after day, you begin to trust yourself again. You begin to believe in your own ability to follow through. That belief is the foundation of self-worth, not built in a single moment, but in repeated moments of choosing yourself. Self-worth doesn't grow through perfection. It grows through presence. The willingness to sit with your thoughts, to focus on your growth, to work on your goals when no one is watching, that's how identity shifts. You no longer feel like you're chasing someone else's version of success. You begin to align with your own purpose, your own potential. That internal alignment creates a kind of peace and power that doesn't depend on external validation. It's rooted in self-awareness, in effort, in showing up for the future version of yourself. Along with self-worth comes vision. That hour a day becomes a space where clarity begins to emerge. You start to notice what matters to you, what excites you, what challenges you in a good way. When everything in life feels noisy or chaotic, this hour becomes a reset button. It's where ideas are born, where long-term thinking is nurtured, where goals stop being vague dreams and start becoming real plans. Vision isn't something that arrives by accident. It's something we cultivate by slowing down, reflecting, learning, and imagining. Most people are so consumed by the urgent that they never make space for the important. But when you choose to protect that 1 hour, you reclaim ownership of your life. You take responsibility for your trajectory, and slowly, almost imperceptibly, you begin to rise, not because the world gave you permission, but because you gave it to yourself. The more consistently you give yourself that hour, the more clearly you see who you're becoming. And the more clearly you see it, the more confident you become in your ability to build it. That's not just progress, it's transformation. And it all starts with a single decision to give yourself what the world never will: time, attention, and belief. So as you walk out of here today, don't underestimate the power of 1 hour. Don't wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect conditions. Start with what you have right now. Give yourself that hour. Protect it. Honor it. Use it to grow, to learn, to build, to become. Because 1 hour a day, repeated with intention, is not just a habit, it's a revolution. And over time, that quiet hour will speak louder than anything you've ever said. It will become the foundation of the future you were always meant to live.